What up YouTube, it's your boy Professor Sticks and I'm back again with another Call of Duty Warzone video. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold Wars is out and I am having so much fun, especially grinding out the zombies with the Mandem. It's so much fun. But listen, today we're going to be talking about all the best settings, especially if you're on PC and controller. We're going to be talking about graphics settings, controller settings, and all the little secret settings that people aren't sharing because they don't know where they are. I'm going to share that with you guys right now. But before all that, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that bell for notifications so you can find your way back for more Call of Duty content, baby. All right, let's get right into it. So first things first, if you're on mouse and keyboard, you know, everything right here is pretty much default. And some of them you're gonna have to figure out yourself. They're things that you're just gonna have to test out yourself to see what you like. The one thing I will let you know for sure though, is you wanna go over to gameplay and you wanna make sure that you change some of these settings. For example, armor plate behavior, you wanna go to apply all. That's gonna help you in fire team, and that's gonna help you when Warzone eventually comes out. Everything else is pretty much the same. You can go ahead and just kind of figure out what works for you. I've also turned auto sprint to enable, but again, I don't play with mouse and keyboard, I play with controller. So I'm just showing you guys these settings just in case you're gonna be playing mouse and keyboard. You kind of wanna go in here and change some of the things around so that will help you get off to a fast start. All right. Let's go over to the graphics. Now, first things first, you're gonna wanna have your graphics on full screen. And some of these are gonna be preference for your setup and your monitor. My monitor goes up to 75 Hertz, so I have it set up to 75 Hertz. You're gonna wanna disable gameplay VSync and menu VSync, simply because it's gonna try and limit your frame rates to what your monitor can do, but that's also gonna give you input lag, and you definitely don't wanna deal with that. Next thing, you're gonna put on the NVIDIA Reflex low latency to enable boosted. If your CPU cannot handle that, if your computer can't handle that, then you wanna go over to enabled normal. This is pretty much just gonna reduce the latency between your system and the server. Everything else is pretty much default based on your system. If you got a 4K, lucky for you, set this over to 4K, but I got a 1080p, so that's what we're gonna be working with right now. Colorblind settings, entirely up to you. You can mess around with that. Field of view, for me, I work with 120. That's because that's what I play Warzone with. And so I'm just trying to keep the same environment so I can just kind of stay used to what I'm already accustomed to. The field of view, the ADS field of view is affected. Again, that's going to make sure that you don't zoom in as much. And that's also going to give you that illusion that, you know, you don't have as much recoil. And that's the best thing. So then it's going to be easier for you to aim your weapon. Brightness, I have mine set to 60. Again, you want to make sure that that matches what you have set for your settings on your monitor. That's going to give you the best, clearest picture. Frame rate limit, unlimited. We're not capping our frame rates. Here's where everything kind of gets up to your system's ability to handle more quality and more graphics quality. So I have mine set to medium here. Normally, if I'm going for more performance, I'm gonna go with lowest, but because I've been playing zombies, I'm not really looking for performance. I'm gonna go to medium. The model quality, I have that set to medium. The special effects quality, I have that set to medium. I've disabled screen space reflection. Object view distance, I have that set to medium. Volumetric lighting set to medium, shadow quality set to medium, dynamic shadows set to disabled, special effects shadows set to disabled, weapon shadows set to disabled, ray tracing local, all of this just disabled. That's just gonna eat up so much of your GPU power and you're gonna lose so many frames. Anti-aliasing, I have that set to low. That's what I have it set in Warzone. In fact, sometimes I run it off in Warzone, but in regular Warzone, I have it set to low because that's going to give you the SMAA1X, and that's perfect for you if you have a low graphics card like the GTX 1660. If you have anything higher than that, then consider going to medium or high or ultra if you got, you know, the new brand spanking RTX 3000 series. You want to go ahead and max that out. But for me, I have that on low. All right, everything else is disabled. Motion blur disabled. Motion blur quality, that should be, it's disabled, so this doesn't even matter. Subsurface wow, I cannot read. Subsurface scattering, I have that on enabled. Again, it's just gonna give you a little bit more quality. It's gonna make it look a little bit nicer. The order independent transparency, I have that on high. Again, it's up to you. You could lower it all the way, or disable it, but I have it on high. I still want some good quality, especially because I'm going to be taking some of my content and putting it over on YouTube. I have my VRAM usage to 90%, and want to use as much of the VRAM as we possibly can to get the best quality. And then again, this is all default. This is going to be what your graphics card is, and again, this is all default. Audio. Now with audio, I'm really testing things out. I made the how to hear enemies' footsteps better in Warzone, and right now some of the traditional audio settings presets are not there, and so I'm kind of testing things out right now. But master volume, that's just going to control your master volume. I'm had that all the way high. Normally I would have music all the way low, but I've just been trying to figure out what kind of music is in there, so I have that on 40 just because it's a brand new game. We want to see what kind of tunes they got in the track. What kind of tunes do they have in the game? You feel me? Sound effects volume 100%. You want that at max because that's your footsteps, that's your grenades, that's your anything that has to do with sound effects. This is where it's going to be. So you want that absolutely cranked all the way to the top. Dialogue volume, right now I got that on 50. I might even lower that once I kind of get used to some of the things that the in-game characters are saying or the announcers are saying. But right now I just have that set to 50. Cinematic volume, that's mostly probably going to be campaign type stuff. I have that set to 80. Now the audio preset, normally I would be on home theater, but that option is not here. And with Treyarch, they got the Treyarch mix. I haven't tested that one out. I've been using Boost, bass boost, and that's been working for me. But I think I want to test out some more things just to see what's going to give me the best audio to be able to hear enemy footsteps. Hit marker sound effects obviously enabled, and then this is pretty much default, and then these are all personal preference. You can set them up as you want. I'm not even going to go into any more information on that or details on that. Now here you want to go subtitles. You can have them enabled or disabled, and the great thing is you can make them large or small. I just have it on disabled. Introduction movie, don't skip or skip, entirely up to you. The HUD bounce, this is really awesome because you can actually control where your HUD goes. So if you want the mini map to be kind of a little bit closer, and your health and your ammunition, all that stuff to be a little bit closer to the screen, so you don't have to look so far on each side of your monitor, or especially maybe if you're on TV, this would help a lot too. So this is entirely up to you. You set that up as you wish. Everything else here is all default. Crosshairs, obviously you kind of want that to show. Hit marker, you want that to show. You want to see if you're hitting your enemy. Damage hit marker, you want that to show. Ally bar, you want that to show. You definitely want your enemy's health bar to show. Full name, it's up to you. If you want to see who's killing you or who you're killing, then obviously you want to put that on. Everything else, guys, it's really up to you. Try to figure out what works best for you and what works best for your gameplay. Now here you can, if you're on computer, you definitely want to have your FPS counter on, because it's going to let you know where your frames are like, and then you can kind of figure out, are my settings too high? Do I need to reduce them? Or are my settings too low because you're getting so much frames that you kind of want to get a better quality. Your GPU temperature, it's up to you. GPU clock, up to you. All of these things are all entirely up to you. Your in-game alert systems, obviously you want that on because that's going to let you know if you have high latency, low latency, packet bursts, or any of those things, any issues. You want to be able to know those things, so you're definitely going to have that enabled. Now controller, here you're going to have your horizontal sensitivity and your vertical sensitivity. Again, this is also preference. You want to figure out what works for you. I think J God is going to be dropping a video on the best sensitivities and how to figure out what sensitivity works for you, so I'll probably link that down in the description below. But for me, I play Warzone on 5, and so that's what I've been working on right now. I might work around a little bit, might drop down to 4 and just see how that works, because normally in Warzone you go all the way up to the max, which is 14, while in Warzone it's 2020, or Modern Warfare it's 2020. But I think they're kind of aligned with each other. So for me, I usually work around that medium range, and so 4 or 5 is what works best for me. I'm gonna test out more and just see which one works best for me. The ADS stick sensitivity, that's obviously for your aim down sight. I always reduce mine because you wanna have a little bit more fine-tuned control. Button layout, you guys know from Warzone, I use tactical. I use also tactical flip, so I'm shooting with my bumpers. And then also some people will use default, so their crouch will be on circle and their jump will be on X. I like my crouch being on R3, and then I have my jump on X, but I have back paddles because I have a scuff controller. So entirely up to you. Some people like bumper jumper, some people like stick and move. Just figure out what works best for you. That's gonna allow your gameplay to be at an elite level. All right, you wanna disable invert vertical look. If that's you, if that's what you do, of course, enable it, but I don't. I have mine disabled. Controller vibration, obviously disable. We don't want to mess with no controller vibrations. Everything else is default. Aim down sight behavior enabled. Slow down and strafe aim assist enabled. You obviously want aim assist enabled. The airborne mantle behavior, this is entirely up to you. If you want to be able to mantle things while you're airborne, you want it automatically, but if you want to be able to, if you want to have control over that, then you want to disable it, and then it becomes on press or on second press. So if you press it X once, you jump once, it's gonna mantle. If you press it 2 times, it's gonna obviously mantle for you because you're pressing it on the second one. All right, but for me, I have that on automatic. Aim down sight behavior, obviously hold. Steady aim behavior, hold. Again, armor behavior, apply all. Like I said, with the keyboard and mouse, you want to do apply all, especially when Warzone comes out, or for Fireteam, when you're applying your plates, it's going to apply all the plates for you. And you could do this in Warzone if you didn't know that, on console and on PC if you're rocking the controller. Attack vehicle control mode, or attack vehicle control mode, you can do aim based or you can do alternate. It's up to you. Work with what works best for you. In terms of your dead zones, that's what this is. Left stick minimum input threshold. These are your dead zones if you're used to Modern Warfare and especially Warzone settings. These are your dead zones. Again, you want to work with what works best for your controller. My controller is super new. I think my controller is like only 2 to 3 weeks old now. So it starts off on the default, which is at 20. What I would do is go into a game, set it all the way to 0, and figure out which one works for you. So if your guy is kind of moving to the left or to the right or drifting a little bit, then you move it up. You move it up. Oops. You move it up. If he's still drifting, you move it up again. If he's still drifting, you move it up again. If he's still drifting, you move it up again. If he stops drifting, try going back down 1 and see, okay, is he still drifting? If he's not drifting, boom, you found your settings. So for me, my settings were at 3. This one on the initial setup, the default setup, it was at 99. I put mine all the way to 100. Okay, auto move forward. Again, you can have it enabled or disabled. I have mine on disabled. Auto sprint, I have mine on enabled. And then I have everything else disabled. My parachute auto deploy, that's obviously disabled, especially for Fireteam. You want to be able to land closer to the ground. Equipment behavior, I have that on hold. Interact / reroll behavior, I usually have this on prioritize, on tap to interact, where you have to hold square to reload. That's what it is on Warzone. But I realize in multiplayer, I'm not really interacting with a lot of things. I want to reload faster, so tap to reload is what I have mine set on right now. Now, here are some of the secret settings, some of the things that people don't know about. If you want to be able to see your system latency, you want to go over to account and network, you want to go to server latency, and you want it to show you for both. It's going to show both. If you want to show your packet loss, you want it to show both shown, it's going to show both. It's not going to just show the graph. It's going to show you the number and the graph. So you want to do this. If you want to just see the widget at the top right there, you see it right here on my screen. It's right there. If you don't want it, you just hide it. All right. So I have mine to both shown, packet loss, same thing. If you don't want to see it, hidden. If you do want to see it, both shown, perfect. And then everything else is just default settings, entirely up to you if you want to change around these settings. All right, there you have it. Those are the best settings according to me, Professor Sticks. If you want to be able to start frying out in the Black Ops Cold War and you want to have the best settings, here they are for you guys. Appreciate you guys so much. The support has been unreal. If you learned something new, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, and consider turning on notifications. We're gonna have so much more Cold War videos coming, zombie videos coming, multiplayer videos coming, and once that Warzone integration comes out, we'll be dropping nothing but gems. All right guys, appreciate you, and as always, drop into some multiplayer and frag out, or drop into zombies and definitely frag out. All right, appreciate you guys. See you on the next one. Peace.